Have you ever wondered what grade you should teach? Kindergarten through second grade, elementary school, middle school, high school. Every grade can be very rewarding, but some grades can be challenging depending on your personality as a teacher. If you're thinking about kindergarten, if you first or second grade, if you have patience for needy students, meaning that they need you to help them with everything, especially kindergarten. You may need to help them hold their pencil, learn how to hold their pencil, tie their shoes, um, and also in kindergarten, crying. First grade as well. If you don't have patience to deal with students who are um, disconnecting themselves from their parents, especially the first couple of months of school, they don't know you, you are a stranger, they will cry, cry, cry. So if you do not have patience for that, then you may not want to think about teaching the lower grades. But if you do, I teach first grade. I enjoy it. I teach letter sounds, decoding words, writing. It's for me, it's the most rewarding to see a kid so young and didn't know what the letter C was, but then they can identify the sound at the end and reading words. So it just brings me a lot of joy. So you definitely have to have patience, but it can be challenging and rewarding at the same time. If you're thinking about middle school, middle school, or maybe third to fifth grade, they are more independent. They're not dependent on you as much if they are prepared for the grade. We do have learning gaps in a school, so you have to be mindful of that. But if they are ready, they are more independent. You could teach the lesson and model the lesson, go over the lesson, and then just let them do it independently. When you have grades like that, you could be working on other tasks, but it's best to observe the kids so you can stop them if they are not doing something correctly or not being on task. So a lot of teachers like third through fifth grade because the students are more independent and less that you have to do. Teachers who really do not prefer those grades, such as myself, it's because it is state tested grade. It's very stressful. Your scores basically impacts the school overall report card. Every school gets a report card. It could be a school, a B school, a C school, a D school, and you that amount of stress knowing that you're responsible. All teachers are contributing to that, but if you are in those state tested grades, they will know you as that specific grade and that specific teacher teaching that subject and how your kids are performing based on your teaching. Also, um, that grade, you're dealing with kids who developing their attitudes. They can start getting a little mouthy, talking back a little bit, have attitudes, classroom drama. I have seen classroom drama. They start gossiping, talking about each other, um, and that can create chaos in your classroom and disrupt disruptions that will stop you from teaching what you need to teach. Um, but it can also be rewarding because, again, at the end of the year, once they have to take those state tests and you have 80% of your students who mastered all the state standards, it just brings you joy. And you know that you contribute to that school being an A or B or C school. 6th through 8th grade, I would say unpredictable attitudes. Unpredictable attitudes. They are having mood swings because they're basically developing their personalities. They're still kind of learning themselves. They're trying to impress their friends who they're hanging around. One day they come in all bubbly, happy. The next 5 minutes, they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to talk to you. They don't care about the lesson. They're not doing their work. So definitely personality issues and concerns that you would have to go through with that. But if you don't mind dealing with a little attitude every now and again, or every day sometimes, that is the grade that you may want to pursue. You want to make sure you know exactly what grade you want to teach, because you do not want to enroll in college for early childhood and knowing that you can't deal with crying or tying their shoes or helping them learn how to hold a pencil. If those things will frustrate you, then you know that you don't want to pursue early childhood. If you want a student more independent or don't mind dealing with attitudes and a little gossip going on in a classroom, sometimes those gossips can lead to fighting that you may have to call for assistance when that happens in your classroom. Um, if you don't mind doing that, then you may want to go to college for um, middle school or high school. So you don't want to waste your time with going to college and picking a certain area where it's not fitting for you. You know, at the end of the day, you want to enjoy your job, but you want to also be happy doing your job. High school, I sub in high school. My favorite grade as a substitute teacher was 12th grade. 12th grade, by then you had students, they had their credits. They like, okay, I just want to get this done and over with. What do I need to do? They was very focused. They want their credits so they can graduate and move on with their lives. Versus ninth grade, they're still in that stage where they're trying to impress their friends. Some of them don't know how serious it is to earn their credits so they can have enough credits to graduate high school. And you have to be grade specific, meaning that you have to know that subject. Science, I never was good in science. When I was going to school, I'm still not good at science, so I know I will be a terrible teacher teaching science. But when you're in high school, a high school teacher, and if I chose to be a high school teacher, just say for instance, I'm great at teaching math, and I get hired as a math teacher, it's not promised that next year that I will be a math teacher. If it's a teacher shortage, you may be moved to another specialized subject. So sometimes if you've been out of school for a very long time, if you're trying to figure out A plus B plus C equals C to the second power, or however it goes, if you've been out of school for a very long time, you have to reteach yourself in order to teach the standard or the goals to the students. So you have to be mindful of that. And sometimes the principal does not give you a lot of time to prepare yourself as an educator. They may say, okay, you'll be teaching math next school year, and someone up and quit. And okay, now we have 2 math teachers. We're just going to have 1 math teacher. Now you have to teach science. And you have to be able to adapt quickly because You want to be the best educator that you can for the sake of the students. So just be mindful of that. So you just have to research and know your pros and cons of what grade you would like to teach. The best advice I would give anyone is what I did myself. I went around and I substitute in every grade. I started off at kindergarten and I subbed all the way to 12th grade. And my favorite grade that I enjoyed was second grade. That was the most fitting for my personality. But I'm currently teaching first grade, which is fine because I'm preparing them for second grade. But just be mindful of sometimes when you have your heart set to one grade, oh, I'm going to be a kindergarten teacher. You may start off as a kindergarten teacher in an elementary setting, but you may also be moved to fifth grade. So please take the time to really consider if you want to pursue elementary education, middle school, or high school. If you like content like this, please subscribe and like to the channel and watch the next video.